Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Center of Des Moines. We are so glad you are here. Do we have anybody here for the very first time today? Because I see some new faces. Well, welcome. We are so glad you could join us. If you feel so called and happen to notice as you come in, there were some mugs and a little Unity packet. You are free to take one of those with you when you leave. We're just glad that you're here. If you're joining us online for the first time, we welcome you too. Just know that Unity Center of Des Moines is a diverse community living a positive spiritual path. We welcome you just as you are and recognize each person is on their own unique spiritual journey. You may notice that we use different kinds of words like divine, love, light, source, God, all of it, because it encompasses all of what God is. So whatever word most resonates with you, just know that when you read the divine or whatever word, you apply it because we're just about living your own positive spiritual path. And we love to begin with song. And speaking of using love, you may know this song with slightly different lyrics. And we love it when you sing along.
We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the love. We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the love. And we pray that all unity may one day be restored. And they'll know we're one family by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we're one family by our love. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other, we will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that love is in our life. And they'll know we're one family by our love, by our love. And they'll know we're one family by our love. We will work with each other, we will work side by side. We will work with each other, we will work side by side. And we'll guard each one's dignity and save each one's pride. And they'll know we're one family by our love, by our love. Yes, they'll know we're one family by our love.
That is one of my very favorite songs. And we are one family. So announcement-wise, if you did not already know, today is a very big day. Not only is the community room full of delicious food brought by this amazing community, but we're also having the annual meeting after that. So what we'll do is we'll have the service, we'll eat food. I'll be asking who's going to be staying for the annual meeting, and we'll print out, we have a little survey that we want feedback and guidance from you guys on, and we're going to go over some financials and some other stuff. So I'll just be asking who wants to be involved. Everyone is invited, and we really want this to be a co-created community place and help make that vision possible together. Also today, that's not all. 5:15 tonight, we had Jyotsana Mon speak about kirtan, that chanting in Sanskrit. So we're going to have that. Deb has it before every full moon. So at 5:15, there's an opportunity to raise your voices and get that experience here in the sanctuary. And then at 6:30 p.m. is the gong meditation. And you can read more about those things. If you go to our website and click on the email blast, you can get all the details and the Facebook event and the cost and all of that. So it's tonight, and Kevin and I will be there. We still need some volunteers for holiday decorating. We have a late Thanksgiving this year because November started on a Friday. But we are still going to be decorating, and the sign-up sheets, I put them in the entryway because I thought maybe as people came in, they would see that more easily, and then we could gather more in the sanctuary. So if you're up for putting your name down, there's no major time commitment. We're just wanting to get some volunteers, then many hands make light work. As a side note, this building supports others in the community, classes. So we have space available for rent. Some of the people that are renting the space for classes include the Des Moines Drummers Group next Saturday, 11/23 at 4 p.m. And then that same day at 1 p.m., there's going to be a culinary herbs class. So again, those details are on the Unity calendar, and spread the word. If you or someone you know wants space rental, we have a beautiful building, and you help support making this community possible. Our usual events are also on that same calendar. If you are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, Unity Center Des Moines, please subscribe, tell your friends, share. This celebration service and some other things are on that channel, and then we also share it to our Facebook page. I think we're ready for our statement of faith, which will be up on the screen. If we can say this all together. There is only one power active in my life and in the universe, the divine source of all life and love. Next, the unity affirmation. And as we say this together, if you could allow yourself to really feel the oneness. Unity of Des Moines is a radiating center of the divine light, mighty to attract its good and to radiate good to others. With this spirit of oneness, I have a list of people that need to be surrounded with our love and prayers. I invite you to uncross your feet, your hands, and just take in a deep breath, imagining your entire body being filled with the love, light, and energy from Source, and sending it out to these names. Greg, Brittany, Amy, JR, Eric, Kelly, Jess, Paul and Phyllis, Roger, Howell and family, Rob, Rachel, Shane, Sue, Mary Jo, Melinda, Ted, Christina, Seal, Chris, Deb, Linda, Susan, and anyone struggling with something we know nothing about.
Now we'll take time to go into meditation. Sink into the seat that you are in and let it fully support you. And bring your awareness to your breath, following the breath in and out of the body. Center yourselves in your heart and expand that breath, breathing in peace, calm, and relaxation. And letting go of any stress or tension that you might be feeling from the day so far. Just blowing that out as you breathe out. And then take another deep breath and connect with source energy by whatever name you use for source. And as you breathe out, imagine that connection to source being clear and unobstructed. Feel Spirit in you. Commune with it. Continue to let your body relax. Let the soothing sounds of the chime wash over you. And then follow the sounds of the chime into the silence. As you gently become aware again of yourself and your surroundings, feel that oneness in our community. Know that we are never separate, that we're all a part of the oneness. Spirit moves through each one of us, connecting us with all that is. And know that any time during your day that you feel separate, or feel stress or tension or pain or anxiety, you can come into the awareness of this present moment and feel connected with Spirit, Source, whatever name you use for that energy. And you can also reconnect with each other, those of us that are present in this room as community. We are here to love and support one another. Taking another deep breath of energy and excitement for your day. And bring your awareness back to these surroundings and feel gratitude for this blessed room that we are so wonderfully blessed to meet in every week. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. All right. The daily word for today is not in this book because that's September, October. Okay, so we're going to let Spirit guide this one. The theme is divine order, taken from 2 Chronicles chapter 27, verse 6, which says, "So Jotham became strong because he ordered his ways before the Lord his God." If I'm feeling out of step and not in sync with the world around me, I pause to affirm divine order. I need not pray for divine order because it is an enduring spiritual truth that is always present in my life and in all life. When it feels far away from me, I need not despair. I trust the messages I get from my mind and body to rest when my body tires, and to step away from busyness when I feel frazzled. I also discern when to seek the company of others and when to seek solitude. By honoring my natural rhythms, I once again feel restored to order. Affirming divine order increases my awareness of God within me. I am in harmony with the world around me when I honor the world within me. I respect and respond to my internal rhythms and align with divine order. The affirmation that goes along with this, I'll say it once, and then if we all say it together. My life is in rhythm with divine order.
My life is in rhythm with divine order.
All right, let's have another song. And once again, the lyrics will be up on the screen, and we love it when you join along.
Spirit moving in me, I feel the Spirit moving in the peace moving in me. I feel the peace moving in me. I feel the peace moving in me. I feel the Spirit 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 moving in me.
Thank you so much. Can we get a round of applause for the music team? And also Daniel up there running sound, working with new mics, muting and unmuting and doing all the things. Thank you, Daniel. We really, really appreciate it. All right, it is now my honor to introduce our guest speaker. She's been here before and always has a wonderful message to share. Her name is Joy Hirshberg from Fairfield, Iowa. You can read more about her on our website, unitydesmoines.com, also in the email burst. But she's going to speak on the topic of 3 pillars of spirit-based living. Please welcome Joy Hirshberg.
Thank you. And good morning. Good morning. Today we'll be considering 3 pillars of spirit-based living. Testing, there it is, testing.
Just keep going, we'll figure it out.
Okay. So the first pillar is an acknowledgement that God is all and that God is good. What does that mean in terms of daily living? Well, for starters, there is no evil. Really? Charles Fillmore teaches that apparent evil is the result of ignorance, and when truth is presented, the error disappears. We'll see some examples of that, so don't get too worried. A famous rabbi, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, also offers an enlightened view when he says, evil does not descend from above. The transmission from above is pure and coherent. Evil is distortion and noise, an artifact of our reception. If we would only adjust our reception devices, he says, our attitude and our ability to receive, the signal would become clear. He says this is all of life, adjusting reception. Mary Baker Eddy likewise describes evil as an illusion. She says evil is a false belief. God is not its author. And in short, we can say, as the Rebbe does, when life is full of noise, adjust your reception. But how? Richard Booker, a spiritual healing practitioner in the mid-20th century, reveals precisely how. He says, going through to the absolute is the way to handle every appearance of evil, limitation, or suffering. Infinite good, appearing infinitely, is the remedy for every ill. His instruction to go through to the absolute is what Vedic sage Maharishi Mahesh Yogi calls transcendental prayer. Maharishi explains that prayer on the verbal level has its effectiveness, we know that. Prayer on the mental level is more effective, and prayer from the transcendental area of life has maximum effectiveness. This is because, as Maharishi says, in transcendental prayer, thought has a frictionless flow. It travels instantly throughout nature. Transcendental prayer is instantly heard and instantly responded to. Teacher and practitioner of non-duality, Rupert Spira, says, if you want relief from your suffering, you have to go back deeply into yourself to find that place that is inherently free of suffering. As Booker writes, so we're not dealing with evil forces, we're dealing with a false point of view, assuming the center of individual gravity to be outside our divine self. It's said that to know the truth is to be the truth, and the truth will make you free. An acquaintance of mine named Bob.
That wasn't it, sorry. Go ahead.
Should I hold this? Bob had an experience many years ago that illustrates this. In New York City, as he walked from the Chrysler Building to the Lower East Side, two men approached. They said, "Give us $1." He said, "Sorry, I don't have any money with me." There he was, dressed in a nice suit, a crisp blue shirt, wearing a vest, and he was carrying a leather briefcase. But he had no money? Sure. They didn't believe him for an instant. They followed him all the while making fun of his big blue belly. He says he's slender now, but then he was not in such good shape. At some point, one guy pulls a knife and sticks it next to Bob's big blue belly. Says, "Give us your money." At that moment, a cop car approached, but in an instant, Bob calculated that if he called out to them, the guy with the knife might panic and stab him. It came to him to rely on what he knew to be absolutely true. Truth flew forth in his thought. This is the kingdom of God. Heaven is here right now. These men are divine ideas in the mind of God, and so am I. Apparently, he verbalized some of this because the guy with the knife said, "Are you a psychologist?" "No," he answered, "I'm a Christian Scientist." At that point, the one with the knife began to recite some words from Mary Baker Eddy, the church's founder. But he didn't have the words quite right, so Bob said, "Well, let's say it together." As they began, the second man rolled his eyes and began spinning round and round in circles while shouting four-letter words. While he was distracted in his own world, Bob asked the guy with the knife where he'd learned that religious text. He said, "Well, I learned it in prison." Bob says, once things settled down, I gave them each $1, big money in 1972, and some church literature. I briefly thought, phew, I'm still alive. I'll look another way tomorrow. But then he realized I was feeling no fear. He says, so I introduced myself and said, well, I walk this way every day. I hope to see y'all again. He says he never actually did see them, but he'd like to think that the incident was healing for everyone. Bob had another similar experience. After an LGBTQ+ church gathering in New York, he was walking a friend home on 14th Street. It was a seedy area with a lot of traffic. 4 teenage boys, probably about 19, he says, approached and began to taunt them. Look at these fags. They have AIDS. Let's get rid of them. Bob says, my friend and I began to speak truth out loud, whatever zoomed forth in thought. Things like, this is now the kingdom of God. God is in charge. These boys are divine ideas. With this, the boys pivoted, reversed course, banging on the metal bars of buildings as they left. They couldn't handle it. It was just like when light destroys darkness, simply by being light. The second pillar rests firmly on our acknowledgement that spirit is all. Spirit is all, and this means there is no matter. Zvi Freeman points out that there is no biblical word for matter or stuff. In the Hebrew Bible, there seems to be no concept of stuff being made of anything at all. Are we surprised then to learn that the Christian scriptures say in a ripened translation, consciousness is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen? Spira explains it this way. He says, nobody has ever, could ever, or will ever find anything outside consciousness, because all experience appears in consciousness, is known by consciousness, and is made of consciousness. This is why Maharshi teaches that reality is one unbounded ocean of consciousness in motion. It's a flow. With regard to matter, the mystical aspect of Judaism, known as Kabbalah, teaches that everything in the world above has its analog in the world below. Now, where Plato makes a sharp distinction between the physical and spiritual, the Kabbalists insist on absolute unity. The so-called external world is, for the Kabbalist, simply a thickened extension of the more important inner reality, like the shell on a coconut. Abraham Joshua Heschel says, everything in this world is the jutting edge of what is deeply hidden. I love how Professor Daniel Matt says it. He says, God is not somewhere else hidden from us. God is right here, hidden from us. Schneerson is very clear when he says there are not two forms of matter, the physical and the spiritual. Rather, he says to each thing there are two faces, the more tangible and the more abstract. Our senses and perception grasp that which is tangible, and we call it physical. One's mind's eye is able to grasp the more abstract, each according to his own level of perception, that is one's individual perspective. Martha Wilcox, a Christian Science teacher and practitioner in the 20th century, says it this way. She says it's very important to know that there are not two groups of creation, but that all things are spiritual. The concrete, visible expression of these realities is the spiritual fact of reality itself, even though these visible forms appear as human sight, food, home, money, or a friend. To be clear, spiritual living does not ask us to abandon things, but it does require that we discard our material view of them. Wilcox says, when rightly viewed, all natural things from the sand on the seashore to the stars in the heavens are formations of spirit and are spiritual. So also is everything from a pin to a palace, including houses and lands and money, when they are correctly understood. Sufi Ibn Arabi says there is no being without being. And Rumi writes, I know nothing of two worlds. All I know is the one. I seek only one. I know only one. I find only one. And I sing of only one. To illustrate, here's a healing account from Kate Buck, a Christian Science healing practitioner from the 20th century. She writes, a man came simply asking to know more of God and his individual relationship to God. The physical was not mentioned, and that, as every practitioner knows, is extremely rare. Yet on his face was an angry, ugly-looking growth that had been there for years, and about which He was very sensitive. Still, he did not refer to it. She says, I wish I could say I did not see that thing. I cannot honestly say that. But I can say that I lost sight of it. No treatment was asked, and no treatment was given. We spent 2 hours talking about God and divine manifestation to realize that individual being is the one being individualized. We both felt the inspiration and uplift of that time of earnest communication with God. In the morning, she says, his wife telephoned, saying that quite early she'd heard him cry out, and when she ran to see what the trouble was, he simply said, "Look at me." And there was nothing on his face. That minute, I saw the way of true healing. She says the physical picture was forgotten, and I certainly did not do anything. We cannot admit the existence of something and then try to destroy it. But when we realize, even in a degree, the allness and perfection of God and our oneness with God, there's nothing to heal. Our third pillar of spirit-based living requires we acknowledge there's only one self, capital S. There is no, quote, other. In his book, Consciousness is All There Is, Dr. Tony Nader writes, in consciousness, there is no other. Booker explains why this understanding is important. He says true brotherhood and sisterhood are found when we have no otherhood. The story of a Buddhist woman who was walking by herself on the beach when a man suddenly pulled her into the bushes serves as an illustration of this. She remained calm and centered, even as he was about to assault her. She was inspired by the still small voice to ask about his mother, and she calmly spoke to him of God's love for him and how he and she were created from the very same essence of divine love. She perceived his divinity. He became calm. Then he released her. Surprisingly, she convinced him to turn himself in and get help. She then walked him to the police station, where he was booked. Interestingly, there were already outstanding warrants for his arrest. After his prosecution and sentencing, she kept in touch with him in prison, and they were even friends for a while after he was released. In a book entitled Transcendental Judaism, author David Lieberman nails it when he says, "When I touch the transcendent, I am not only experiencing my own essence, I am also experiencing yours. They are not two different essences that happen to be the same." He says they are the one essence. Recognize that at the deepest level, you and your neighbor are the one self. Now, some may ask, if there is no other, who are all these others in my world? Consider that in mathematics, there's only one number 7. In all of mathematics, only one number 7. Yet, number 7 appears in many shapes, sizes, colors, uses, and so forth. Not to mention that we never run out of the number 7. That's because infinite being, which includes the perfect eternal number 7, is infinitely manifest. Perhaps you have a partner with whom you share a deep and abiding love. Quite possibly there are moments in your relationship when personal boundaries drop away and even vanish. This is because true love is the recognition of our one infinite being. With this pillar, some may fear personal annihilation. But the only thing we ever lose are the limitations and boundaries of the apparently separate self. Rumi always inspires when he says, beyond our ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make sense anymore. Our mission is to inwardly, knowingly, and spontaneously exchange the fable of evil, the fable of matter, and the fable of other for the fact of eternal, divine at-one-ment. Just where and when are we to do this knowing no evil, no matter, no other? In Isaiah, the Lord says, at the right time I will hear your prayers. On the day of salvation I will help you. What's the right time? The Christian scriptures comment on this verse from Isaiah and say, I tell you the right time is now. The day of salvation is now. Aisha's newsletter some 20 years ago published an anonymous post that I've adapted. It says in essence, we convince ourselves that life will be better after we get married, have a baby, then another baby, maybe even more babies. Then we're frustrated that the kids aren't old enough and will be more content when they are. After that, we're frustrated that we have teenagers to deal with. We will certainly be happy when they're out of that stage. We tell ourselves that life will be complete when our spouse gets his or her act together, when we've graduated from therapy or counseling, when we get a nicer car, a bigger house, when we can hire more staff, are able to go on a nice vacation, or even when we retire. The truth is, there's no better time to practice spiritual vision than right now. It's the truth that sets us free, not the words or any thinking about the words. And if not now, when? Life will always be filled with challenges. It's best to admit this to ourselves and decide to use our spiritual vision right here, right now. So stop waiting until your car or home is paid off, till you get a new car or a new house, until your kids leave the house, until you go back to school, until you lose 10 pounds, until you gain 10 pounds, until you have a new job, until you get a divorce, until you finish school, until you get married, until you have kids, until he proposes, or until she accepts, until you retire, until summer, until spring, until winter, until fall, until after the new year. There's no better time than right now to see and be who you really are. Thank you.
Thank you, and not sure what happened with the mic. I swear we did a sound check before, and we even talked both it. I got no answers. but the show must go on. There's no better time than right now to be ourselves. So thank you for that message, Joy. It's now time to collect the offering. If you are feeling moved to use your resources to support the Unity Center of Des Moines, maybe if you're joining us online or if you're like me and don't carry cash, we also accept donations via Venmo. There's a donate button on our website that uses PayPal, and in the basket there's a little QR code that you can get to our Venmo account. Yes, but know that all contributions, whether they are of the physical, spiritual, or emotional, energetic level, we want to offer this affirmation. I am infinitely abundant. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I thankfully acknowledge the divine source. And we're doing something a little different with the special song today where we can sing along. We got a lot of people here today, and we're still having the basket get along the way. Oh. And thank you, Zeke. I'll take this moment to just thank all of our volunteers, all the people that brought food, Kevin for helping me get these tables out so we have plenty of seating, and just all the people that do things to help us get this place going. I'd like to dedicate this offering to do the work of spirit and truth to the people of Unity of Des Moines, and we are grateful. Thank you, everyone. All right, and now Deb will lead us in the universal greeting of peace from the Gandhi Foundation. And a lot of times people like to stand up so they can follow her hand motions, and then it's a nice transition into our closing song. All right. I offer you peace.
I offer you peace.
I offer you love.
I offer you love.
I offer you friendship.
I offer you friendship.
I see your beauty.
I see your beauty.
I hear your needs.
I hear your needs.
I feel your feelings.
I feel your feelings.
My wisdom flows from the higher source.
My wisdom flows to the higher source,
And I salute that source in you.
and I salute that source in you.
Let us work together for unity and love.
Let us work together for unity and love.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, and now if I can invite everyone to just make a great big circle around the room, we will sing our closing song and say the benediction together. Light of the divine surrounds us. The love of the divine enfolds us. The power of the divine protects us. The presence of the divine watches over us.